there yesterday
Okay.
morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's your problem.
Yeah. See now, man, I just gotta make sure to stalk you and
That's
coordinate
all right.
my schedule.
You're all right.
Y'all are gonna make me start.
I'm kind of
working
there
out.
whenever.
All right, so it looks like the Facebook Live is out there. I'm gonna go ahead and try to share it real quick
All right.
from my phone. Live from Mevo. I love that they advertise the name of their
Yeah.
camera now by default.
How they screwed us.
Share.
Ooh.
Let's see. Copy link. Dakota Davis is watching live. Chase is over there. Sounds like he's stapling.
He discovered the new stamp.
It's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. We're so official that we have a stamp with our name and
Do we have
and website
correspondence?
on it. No, it just says Boss Hog Liberty, and then it has the web address.
Okay.
You want? If you tag me in, I'll approve it.
All right. Let me. Yeah, that's there. All right. Edit this.
I have gotten hacked twice this week.
Everybody wants to
On
be Lee
Facebook.
Marcum.
And I don't know why, but they're not doing a good job of like hiding because when I message them, it says I'm in Nigeria. And I don't leave America, so I don't know where. Yeah,
We joke about being a local celebrity, but you truly do have the struggle of being hacked all the time.
no, I'm nothing.
We don't.
I'm a nobody. I'm a donut guy, and that's all.
Oh, man. All right. I have my notes as to what I say. At some point, Dakota, I'm going to memorize this little thing.
I've been waiting on it, man. I've been watching, waiting patiently.
All right. Error saving changes. You can't save the changes.
I guess not.
Chase, whose jersey are you wearing?
Kyle Long.
Kyle. Oh, Howie's kid.
Oh yeah.
He's Chris's worst brother.
Yeah, that's true. He had a really good rookie year,
Yeah.
and then he's been hurt ever since.
Did the Bears report to camp today?
They reported last week.
Last week.
Yeah, they had the Hall of Fame game, so they play next Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have the field right and they'll actually get to play it compared to the year the Colts and the Packers.
And that's the only time it's ever happened. So.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right. You tell me when you're ready, Dakota.
I'm ready, man.
All right. Here we go. I'm so far out of practice. I don't even know. Welcome to the Boss Hog Liberty Podcast on the We Are Libertarians Network. I'm your host, Jeremiah Morrell, and as always, I'm joined by our co-host, Mr. Dakota Davis.
Hey, what's up, Jeremiah?
I'm back in the saddle.
You're back in the saddle again.
I don't want to violate any copyrights, but that was a great job. Great job. This is the Boss Hog Liberty. Our shows are about our lives in rural Indiana. Or I guess we're in the city. It's not
We're in the
necessarily
city,
rural,
man.
semi-rural.
City boys.
This is the show about the folks who are involved in politics. We promise that our episodes are going to be a fun and easy listen. We interview people that are influencers, elected officials, political experts, and folks we just find interesting. Today, it's not really political at all, except the fact that all of life is somewhat political, so we'll throw it in there. On my right, I have Mr. Lee Marcum, camera left of Jack's Donuts. Welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me, guys. I
Glad-
appreciate it.
I'm glad you're here to hang out with us.
I do what I can. I'm trying to represent House Stark well today. I just noticed your Game
Yeah.
of Thrones. So.
No, winter is coming, you know.
It is coming, and like in my heart, I'm a Stark, but in real life, I want to be a Lannister.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
They're just so cool.
They just have it easy. Why would you not want to be a Lannister? I don't understand that at all.
And their colors are cooler. They have cool armor.
Their weather is so much better.
nice.
It's always nice, and the army of the undead, they're going to get them last.
Exactly.
So they have
That's
more
true.
time than
Yeah,
anybody to
they're
get
way
away.
down.
Jared, which one do you want to be?
I have literally no idea. I have not a clue.
Have we tuned out half of the people who watch?
I don't know. The Parks and Rec poster is over my shoulder,
Yeah.
and I can go Ron Swanson all day long. But Game of Thrones, I think I've watched. There's a scene where there's a completely naked woman walking across, being shamed. I think that's the only part of Game of Thrones I've ever seen.
Shame.
Yeah, you remember
That's all. Yeah, that's
Cersei.
Yeah, Cersei Lannister.
So, but Game of Thrones is one of those shows that if I were single, I would never ever watch. My wife loves it. She loves it.
Man.
So since now I love it now that I've watched. I mean, I've watched every episode with her, so I'm into it now. I was kind of like, I'll take one for the team and watch this, and then it gets more interesting. But then the Battle of the Bastards, that was that
that's
was
a good
the
one.
best hour of television or just
in history.
film, screen in general.
Yep,
So-
it totally is.
That
yes.
show's torn my heart out so many
Uh-huh.
times.
Over and
Yes, it
over
has.
again.
I just keep thinking Rob Stark's gonna come back from the dead. There just
Right.
has to be a way. You're gonna
Who
say
knows?
John? Come on.
Ah, man.
Rob's way better.
Spoiler alert!
So Chris Duffy is in the live chat. You guys are listening to the podcast. You can always watch our show live on Facebook Live, and then you can catch the replays later on podcast form. Chris Guffey's in the chat, and he says you can have kids with your sister as well in that house, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
I guess.
That's true. And
don't know.
that maybe not so much. The incest, I'm not as big of a fan.
Not a fan of that one.
It's so
Skip
weird.
out on that
It's
side.
more of the money and weather. That's
Yeah.
really what it is.
So
It's
I
like San Diego.
Yeah, there
started-
you go.
I started reading those books whenever I was in high school,
Yeah.
and I can remember geeking out whenever the TV show was announced.
Sure.
And
You didn't watch it for a long time. 'Cause
No.
I started watching the TV show, and then we'd have long discussions about the book and the TV show.
yeah, because I didn't have cable,
Mhm.
so I couldn't really watch the TV show until it got uploaded to Vudu or whatever.
Sure.
And
Now you're
so
a grown man and you have your own cable.
I still don't have cable even as a grown man. Yeah, I only
You don't
have
have
internet, man.
access to an HBO Go account?
I'm sure I do somewhere.
All right.
I
We might
spend-
have to talk
I
about that
spend way
later.
too much for satellite. I mean, it's way too much. But I don't care. It's worth it.
I've converted myself over to the YouTube TV. I'm fully unplugged from everything other than Metronet and digital subscriptions.
Have you watched the Cobra Kai show?
No.
The Karate Kid series
Mm-mm.
with William Zabka and Ralph Macchio were in it together?
No, sir.
I watched the first episode, and I haven't been able to watch it since because I haven't had the time and made it the priority that it deserves. So, and that's
Well,
one of those ones. My wife stays home, so my biggest problem is I have no free time. Like when the kids are in school, she can watch the shows that she likes, and then I got to watch. And then we have the ones that we both we'll watch this together, and we watch our shows together. But
Yep.
I don't have that time anymore to watch just shows I want to watch, and it's
that's
hard.
That's
See,
how it is when you
First
get married,
world
Jared.
problems.
Yeah,
First world problems.
See,
right
I
there.
try-
I'm about 20 days into marriage, so I still don't know what life is like.
Oh, you have as you can see, I'm going to knock your phone down because I get some more Jameson because I need it. So
Go for it.
I try to
But-
watch shows with my girlfriend,
Yeah.
and we'll start them, and we'll get like 2 episodes in, and she'll go home, and she'll watch the whole season. She doesn't even wait for me.
Now, see, my wife doesn't do that. We're both, I don't know, we're both pretty good about not cheating on watching shows, but the one that I think that I watch, that I like, that is probably more, let's just say for lack of a better word, girly, is Glow on Netflix.
I love Glow.
Glow is, and my wife
It is so good.
and my wife is
Shocking.
kind of like so on it, but I love it. I think it's a great
It is
show.
so good.
Not-
I've seen every
not
season.
Chase.
It's so entertaining. So we're
It's just so funny.
We're binging season 2 right now, and I love it. It's such a great show.
The Wolf Women is my favorite.
Oh yeah,
All right,
all of them. They're all amazing.
Have any of you guys watched Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia?
I've never even heard of that.
Like, it's
Nerd.
on Viceland, and it's this dude who's a psychonaut. So he basically he studies psychoactive drugs,
Mhm.
and he goes to the ends of the earth and tries actually takes all of these weird psychoactives. It's an intense show.
That
Yeah.
sounds like a lot. Like we were
Yeah.
talking about ladies professional wrestling, and then you just
Oh,
went really
dude.
deep on us.
Yeah, you guys are talking about a show that was out there, and I had to
and that
one
is
up.
out there. Yeah,
I had to
get that.
like 3 up that
Sure.
time.
I'm
Sure.
not gonna lie. There's a documentary about the real Glow, and I'm tempted to watch it.
Oh, I've actually YouTube the real Glow
Yeah.
as well, and the series is significantly better. But it's just it's Netflix, so it's good.
Yeah.
Usually
Yeah.
Netflix is
I
they know what they're doing.
when we were flying down to the honeymoon, I finally watched the John McAfee special on Netflix, Gringo, whatever.
Yeah.
Which was the story of
yeah.
him. He's the guy that started McAfee antivirus.
And
became president.
I know that story. I've seen it on like Dateline and things like that, but I haven't watched that yet.
It's like an hour and a half on
Yeah.
Netflix, and he's he went to Brazil,
Mhm.
not Brazil, Belize.
Yeah.
Because we were going to Belize on the honeymoon, so he's like, this is the perfect time to watch this.
Sure.
And talks about how he has these questionable relationships, and his neighbor gets killed over a dog getting poisoned, and this whole thing. So that was out there. It was
This
fun.
is this whole thing about dogs
It was this whole
dying.
thing.
and-
You know-
he may accidentally be my presidential candidate in 2 years, so
Well,
I gotta keep my powder dry.
When
yeah.
I travel for work, when I fly for work, that is the time I can watch whatever I want.
Yeah, you
Right.
save him
But-
to the iPad, and you
But
go.
yeah, but the problem is that I'm thinking I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna watch this, but then I think, but you know what? I haven't seen Point Break in a few years.
Yeah.
So I probably ought to watch that.
Oh, dude, I'm the same way. I have some TV shows that I want to watch
Yeah.
myself, and then I'm like, I
to
haven't
watch
seen
Tommy
the
Boy.
Boondock Saints. Like,
Yeah,
it's
and that's a
been long
great
time.
movie.
It's
That
the
is a
best movie
great
ever made.
movie.
Yeah.
It's the second best movie ever made.
What's the first?
True Romance.
I don't think I've seen
Have you
that.
ever heard of True? Oh, it's the best. If you like Boondock Saints, you will love True Romance.
All right,
Christian Slater,
I'll check it
Patricia
out.
Arquette, James Gandolfini, Christopher Walken,
Oh, man.
Brad Pitt.
Ooh.
There's Dustin Hoffman, or not Dustin Hoffman. Not Dustin Hoffman.
I don't think he knows who Dustin Hoffman is.
Yeah,
I don't know who
but
Dustin
it's not
Hoffman
Dustin
is.
Hoffman is anyway. It's what is his name? I cannot think. My mind. The bad guy in the movie Speed.
Oh, yeah.
It's, the movie.
Is it
Oh,
Hannibal
I know
Lecter?
the movie Speed.
What is his
Hannibal Lecter.
No, it's not an actor.
No, it's
Oh.
not. It's not Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not Anthony Hopkins. What is? Man, I like. If anybody's watching this, I'm losing a lot of respect right now.
It's very
In
sad.
a lot of people's eyes. So, like, if any of my friends are like, "Oh, Lee," they're screaming it at their computers, and they should, because I'm going to look it up right now. I saw you getting your phone.
I've got-
Dennis Hopper.
Dennis
Dennis
Hopper.
Hopper
Oh,
is
it's
in it.
Shooter from Hoosiers.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. That
that
was the
would've
most
worked.
obvious one. Yes.
Come on, Lee. You're gonna
Sorry,
take back
guys.
Your Henry County residency
Sorry,
card.
guys. Yeah, I really do. I'm gonna have to earn it back after
That's
not
all
knowing
right.
that reference.
We'll reset. I've already failed as a host and didn't introduce Chase Peyton over on the sports desk.
Thanks, man.
We've determined that you're wearing the Chris Long Bears jersey.
I am. Kyle Long,
Oh,
hi-
yeah.
the better brother. And he's going to be a Hall of Famer for sure one day after we win 2 or 3
More
Super Bowls. Yes.
Which did he play for the Rams before? Is that the Kyle
that
or
was
the
Chris.
Raider?
That was Chris.
Is
I
it?
do like Chris, though. He's very funny.
Yeah.
No, Kyle's been a Bear, I think, his whole career.
And the other one played for the Raiders and Eagles and
And
the Rams.
Patriots, Eagles.
Yeah, he won the Super Bowl with them.
Yeah, he won the Super Bowl for
The
the,
last 2
Patriots
years.
and then for the Eagles.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So,
And
is
then
that better?
And then
Yeah,
his
that's
dad,
right.
his dad won some Super Bowls too.
Yeah, he
I think
Raider.
Charlie Long did. Yeah.
That dude on Fox.
Jared, I'm a happy man.
Skechers.
I am a happy man. We got some donuts in the house.
So you
yeah.
can eat them.
Oh, I'm going to be eating. You're
They're
going to hear me
consumable.
munching on some donuts.
Lee knows how things are supposed to go on the show, and guests bring gifts. And
Yeah.
Darren Jacobs brought us the Bartlett for America poster. We got the framed artwork from City Councilman Aaron Dickin, and today we have the Jack's Donuts box. We actually have multiple boxes. We couldn't
That's right.
fill them in the entire table here, but
He brought a bag.
we also determined that, or learned that you can take some of the Jack's homemade coffee and put a little splash of Jameson in there in the afternoon.
That's what they say.
And it turns out all right.
It's 7:30. It's 7:30. I'm an adult. I'm having. I'm okay.
It's like prime time now.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not just because I like a little bit of Jameson in my coffee. I like to Irish it up. Doesn't mean that you have to. It's to each their own. But the fact of the matter is, if you're gonna Irish up your coffee, let it be Jack's Donuts coffee.
There you go.
Because that's like the new. I mean, everybody knows us for our donuts, and as we grow, the coffee is becoming a bigger part of it. So that's what we're doing. Is we're really trying to up our game with the coffee.
We're gonna have to get you guys a little liquor license in the mornings for the carryout.
Oh, there you go. We can
Yes.
have mimosas to go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's probably illegal, but but the
I mean-
thought was there.
All you have to do, you just prepare it, and
Mhm.
if it leaves, then whatever. That's there.
Yeah.
That's on them.
I put it in the styrofoam cup. Styrofoam cup. That's a lot to say.
It
So
is.
I put it in the styrofoam cup and set it there. That time good. And yeah, if you leave with it, that's not my fault.
That's right. Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that.
So
Yeah.
that's not really my problem. I am a brunch connoisseur. Like I love
Oh, dude.
donuts.
Uh-huh.
I love donuts, but there is nothing better than just a great breakfast in general or brunch. Because brunch to me involves alcohol, so that's kind of
An eggs Benedict
yeah,
with
something
something
like
to drink.
that. Like
Oh, yeah.
I like donuts.
So,
Eat donuts.
are
You
you-
you should always
That's
eat
the
donuts.
base.
That's the start. But like my birthday's in a couple weeks, and my wife asked me what I wanted for my birthday. I said I want a breakfast burrito, and she was like, "Okay, anything else?" I was like, "No, I just want you to make me an awesome breakfast burrito," and I mean that.
2 breakfast
Yeah.
burritos.
Well, if she
Yeah.
does it right, we'll only need one. So
burritos as big as your head.
yes,
A little bomba
exactly.
All right, so Katie Larson is watching in the live stream,
Mm-hmm.
and I have got a story.
Okay.
I had a dream, a premonition, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I like where this is going.
The other night, And so it started out, and it was super realistic. I've been having these super realistic dreams lately, and I've never been
What
able to
drugs have you
remember
been
my
on?
dreams.
Are you a prophet
Nothing,
now?
man. I think I might. I might be blessed. We don't know. I'm just looking at you. It makes it all this much better.
Okay.
But anyway, okay. So we're at a wedding. The setting is very much like Jeremiah's wedding, and it's an outdoor wedding.
Henry
It's
County chic.
It's surrounded by woods, okay?
Uh-huh.
And me, you, Audrey, Katie, Jeremiah, and Sarah are all walking in these woods, okay? And as we're walking, you guys are down by a creek, you and Katie, and all of a sudden you guys come running back up to us, and you're like, guys, we found wedding rings down by this creek.
Oh,
Like,
no.
we found them in a box. And we're all like, holy crap, it's a sign. Like, you have to get married. And so then you got down on one knee, you proposed right there. Okay?
Okay.
Obviously,
At somebody
Katie.
else's wedding?
Yeah. No. Yeah, exactly.
What a move.
But we were
That's how to do it.
we had snuck off into the woods, so it didn't really matter. And so Katie is all excited, and she slips on the engagement ring. And then you did that thing that some guys do, and you put on your wedding band as kind of like an engagement ring.
Okay, it's a little gay, but, you know,
Immediately.
it's a dream.
Immediately, in the dream, you guys both get very ill.
Oh.
Yeah, you start getting sick.
Maybe it's not a sign.
Yeah, and you guys both end up getting
Are they
so...
magic rings?
Well, I'll continue.
Okay, okay.
You guys both get so ill that you have to be rushed to the hospital. And you're in the hospital for a week, and you are just not feeling any better whatsoever. You're getting worse, in fact. And they call in a priest because you guys have gotten so bad. And I've been visiting you in the hospital all these days.
As a good friend.
Uh-huh. And the priest walks in, and it's Audrey and I's pastor, who is a Quaker minister, not a priest, but
This is the defense attorney?
yeah, yeah.
Mr. Brock?
Mr. David Brock. He's not a Catholic priest, but he still had on the collar thing. So,
It's your dream.
he goes out there. He says a prayer for you, and he like splashes holy water on you guys. And then I follow him out into
Because the Quakers use holy water.
I follow him out into the chapel of the hospital, and like it's so realistic that it's the chapel that I helped build in Ball Memorial Hospital, and I go in there with him. And all of a sudden, his eyes go black like the demons in Supernatural.
Oh, snap.
And he's like, talks in this growly voice, and he's like, those rings weren't made for them. And then he takes a giant dagger out of his priest robes, and he stabs himself in the chest, and then like he disappears in a plume of smoke and bats. Insane. Insane. So I was like, oh my God. Like, that's why they're dying, is they have the rings on. So then I start running back to your room. And as I'm running, I trip in the hallway, I fall, and I get knocked out. And then, as I'm passed out, I get a vision
Okay.
of an angel talking to me. And
Which
said,
angel?
I don't know which angel it was, but this angel is talking to me, and it says, you can't stop them.
I don't know where this is going.
Yeah. It
No
says,
clue.
you can't stop them. The
Okay.
fate of the world rests on the shoulders of their offspring.
Nice.
Yeah. So then I didn't tell you guys, and then there was a whole cosmic holy war that was going to happen, and then I woke up.
Congrats on the sex, chasing the dream.
It was insane. So we've joked a lot about how you and Katie need to get married, but now you have to get married. I'm convinced.
I'll take it into consideration.
This show has hardly existed without a co-host being engaged. From the
true.
very beginning of it until November of last year, we had a co-host engaged. I fixed that 2 weeks later by asking Sarah to marry me, and we are 2 weeks in.
Well, I'm waiting on Danny.
Tick tock, tick tock.
Yeah, that's
Or
a good
some
point.
one of you guys need to get divorced.
Danny's already gotten divorced.
Oh, see him. He's done half the job.
He's already.
Yes. Yeah,
4 of the 5
you're right.
co-hosts have been married now. You're the one hanging out. So anyway,
All right,
Well, that's that.
that was the tale of my dream. I had to get that
That's
out
a cool
there for you.
dream. The
It was
demon threw
insane.
me off. I didn't know where it was going.
I'm
Yeah.
terrified over here.
I
I
had
have no idea.
I had another dream that I was driving my bucket truck for work.
How much
No,
how much
and this
pot
was
have you been smoking?
This was the same night too. Okay, so I'm driving my bucket truck for work, and I have a holder for my cell phone. I'm listening to the Joe Rogan Experience, and on the podcast, Joe Rogan says, and I heard this piece of news from the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast in a little place called Newcastle, Indiana. And I thought, whoa, that's weird. And then I got a text from Joe Rogan, and he told me that someone poisoned his Coke. So I was like, what?
There's a lot of death involved in your dreams.
So I
Is it cola or cane?
cocaine. Yeah.
Okay.
And I wake up, and in my disoriented, fugue-like state, I'm so confused that I actually reach for my phone. I'm like,
Did Joe Rogan really
like-
text me, and do I have his number?
no, I was like, oh God, someone poisoned Joe Rogan.
Cocaine. The cane.
Yeah,
not
the
cola.
cocaine.
Not the cola.
Oh my! All right. So anything else happened while I was gone? I was out of the country for a week. You guys.
How were you out of the country? But we recorded a podcast.
That was a
last
lie.
week.
I feel like I should confess that. If you couldn't figure it out, episode 69, we were guessing the future.
Yep, we were. That was a good episode.
It was a lot of fun with Mark Brim.
All
So yeah, you guys did a tinfoil time, the special bonus for the Patreon people.
That is correct.
They did Stephen Avery, who's the guy making a murderer on the Netflix.
Yep.
And
That
then
was a good one too.
I was on the cruise ship, and I'm too cheap to actually pay for data on the cruise ship. You've done those, Lee, where it's they want like $30 for 10 minutes of internet. It's
The
unbelievable.
last time I was on a cruise ship, cell phones were like a new thing.
Oh yeah.
So it's been a while. It's been a good probably
been a while.
18 years.
Yeah, so you are disconnected from the world.
Yeah.
You're supposed to not have any Wi-Fi, but we were connected so that we could get to the ship account and make
Sure.
reservations and
Yep.
stuff. So my Wi-Fi was connected, and I've been all these group texts running this show and running the Weird Libertarians Network and some other stuff. Inexplicably, I'm getting. It's like you're getting a conversation that you can't answer, and you're just like
Sure.
you're in a vacuum where you can't say
Yep.
anything, but you can see other people talking, and you get like 20% of what they say.
Mhm.
I figure out that Dakota is rebranding our show while I'm gone.
Yep.
He's redoing
It's
the logo, and I can't say a damn thing about it.
Yeah, that's always a fun
He
feeling.
told
Yeah.
me he was going to wait until you were gone.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm,
It was a total surprise to me too.
I'm
I
a
just
fly on
started
the
getting
wall.
emails.
and I can't. All I can see is text. I can't see any images at all.
Mm-hmm.
I have literally no idea until I get to a port that has some Wi-Fi or whatever to see what they've done. So you took it upon yourself,
Yeah.
and you redesigned the Boss Hog Liberty logo, and then you let the Patreon people, without asking your co-host, partners 50-50, man. I own half. Sarah owns a quarter. But
I
half
did
now.
ask you about that, and you liked it.
Yeah.
We picked out our favorite before I put it in the poll.
I don't remember. I was.
It's true.
There were free.
Chase,
there was
we
free
had to
liquor
get
for
rid
a
of
week.
fat-
I don't know.
We had to
the
get rid of
specifics.
Fat Jer. Okay.
I wasn't in the logo.
The
I'm not like Jerry
one Boss
West.
Hog Liberty logo. You're in that one.
He's in the cover page.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right, well,
Yeah. We have to reprint shirts. We got so many new expenses. So anyway,
That's right.
that was a bonus for the Patreon people though. If they kick in, they join Patreon. That's they get to make decisions that I'm not allowed to make.
That's true. I gave you a lot of power last week, the dear Patreon subscriber, and I hope that it paid off.
People have been very excited. I'm happy about it. Cool new logo. People check out. All right, we've done enough dancing around here. We got to talk to Lee a little bit about the business and what he does, the day job. Everybody's wearing a sports thing today. You've got the Bears. I got my MS thing. Lee's got his Pacers deal on.
I'm gonna get a donut real quick.
You should do that.
You want one? You want
Donuts
one?
do make everything better. I'll take one, yeah.
Okay. Which one you want, man?
The white tail.
The white
Chase
tail.
is just blocking
Lee-
the camera shot.
This was his choice.
Lee is the one guy that actually knows what all of these are called. I go in and it's just a panic.
Go. Do you
The
want one?
official name?
The official
I'll
names
take
of all of them.
Which one
I
you
want like a
watched,
jelly filled.
Do we have jelly filled?
I don't know. Man.
I don't know.
There's
I
a
didn't
whole
box them
there's a
up.
whole other box downstairs.
I'm not going
That
down.
That has jelly in it. It's a roll with jelly in it.
You
Yeah,
want
give me
roll?
that.
I'm
yeah.
a traveling salesman. It's my day job.
Mhm.
I sell steel and I
All
go
right.
all over Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Michigan. So I will go in and I'll buy a box or two of these and then I'll make my sales trip and I'll go visit
I
places.
appreciate that.
So
Thank
for the longest time, it was like I had these rare things, these Jack Donuts that
Mhm.
nobody knew, and you
Jared.
guys were like a Newcastle thing. You were our little
Do you
secret.
want a donut?
No, I'm good.
I'll eat half of it
I
for you.
can't, man.
I'll eat half
I'm
of it.
like when Lee invents the keto donut, I'm on board.
Okay, I'm gonna try this. This
While
new
you're
one.
doing the keto.
Yeah, it's a
All
South
right.
Beach thing. Yeah,
Sure.
I'm down like 60 pounds, which is great. And
Great,
literally,
good for
people
you.
are like, "What do you miss?" Jack's Donuts.
There you
That's
go.
not me stroking you. That's literally the answer I give everybody.
Fair enough.
It's a sad life, but it's whatever.
I don't care if you were stroking me.
Yeah, I'm just telling you. It's straight up.
Can you zoom in on my face?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
there's gonna be
Is it on there?
it's stuck on you from now on because the he's got glaze on the iPad screen and you can't move it again.
Ten, 10 out of 10.
So for the longest time, I bring these things to people, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, what the hell are these? These are amazing."
Mm-hmm.
Now you've gone out and you're sponsoring the Pacers, and you're on Wish TV, Channel 8, and you're in 2 or 3 states. You've ruined my little niche.
Well,
Thanks.
and it's, it's one of those things where we had and you're welcome. We have a great product. We've had a great product forever. My grandfather started in '61. My dad bought it in '77, and I bought it in 2007. Was forced to work there all my life. I hated every second of it when I was a teenager. Hated it. But ended up falling back in love with the business and realized, in the late 2000s that I thought we had a special product. And I used to hear stories like yours all the time, how people would take it to wherever. They always had to take Jack's Donuts no matter where they were. I thought, well, maybe we might be onto something. So started selling franchises. And I remember in 2013, Fisher's was our very first franchise. And being over in Fisher's.
So you're just 4 years into franchising, 3 or 4 years into franchising.
Yeah, that's all. We have 17 stores now, and 18 next month in Connorsville. So I remember Fisher's opening up in 2013 February. I remember sitting in the dining room about a half hour before it opened in the dark, because this is 4:30 in the morning, and just being absolutely terrified, thinking, all right, these people invested money in me. I hope they don't lose everything that they had. And about 5 minutes later, one person showed up, and then 2 more people showed up after that. And there was a line. Well, we ended up selling out at 11 a.m. It exceeded our expectations just beyond belief, and that's kind of been the story of Jack's Donuts. It's been a struggle. It's been hard, but we've always persevered. But I don't think our struggle is, or what's hard about what we do is any different than what anybody else does. It's just part of running a company and growing a company. You have, for lack of a better word, you have to have balls to do what we do. And you have to not be afraid to take risks. It's Dave Nance works with me on the Jack's Donuts corporate end, and I was telling him, sometimes it's exhausting to take a leap of faith about every other month. But that's what you have to do when you're growing a company. You have to take
You're
leaps.
playing poker constantly.
Yes,
Chips in.
you are, and you have to take risks that I really honestly believe. I really honestly believe that some people, to each their own. Some people will never have to make the kind of decisions that I feel like I have to make every 6 weeks. And it's hard, and sometimes it wears you out, but it's okay. That's why I put Jameson in my coffee.
So it gets through to the next morning.
You bought the business, took over in 2007,
Correct.
right? And obviously you totally changed the Jack's Donuts game. Probably the whole entire donut game, really.
Well,
And
I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, it wasn't one of those things where I knew we had a great product. We just did not have a great business plan. The business plan that we had worked in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but it was just gone. And as you guys know, technology has changed everything.
Right.
The way people see things, it's just totally. You have to be willing to roll with the changes, because if not, you're going to get ran over.
I remember Dakota gave me a beer to sample, and it's gone.
No, I
Stolen.
told you could try some.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Please continue.
You're all right.
This is the milkshake beer.
I just, whenever you took over, was that your vision from the beginning? Like, we have to branch out, we have to start franchising?
No. My vision when I bought it was my wife, who was a kindergarten teacher at the time, she'll teach. I will make donuts every night or 5-6 days a week, and we'll do that, and we'll just kind of start from there, and that'll be our lives.
It was going to be a job.
It was going to be a job. And after about 2 or 3 years, I got really bored with it and just thought, maybe we might have something, and really found my love of just being an entrepreneur, growing it, sticking my neck out there, not being afraid to get out of my comfort zone.
Right.
You guys do some stuff. If I remember right, we talked earlier. You did the Rob Kendall show, and I remember listening to that podcast. And you guys do some unique things with your frosting and other deals with that you were surprised that other donut vendors don't do.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
There's some things that are specialized. Not getting into trade secrets, but
there's
stuff that you do that makes Jack's Donuts very special than their generic one.
As we started growing, that was one of the things that I realized, that the skills that my dad taught me growing up were a specialized skill that I didn't realize that a lot of people didn't have. And that's when I knew we were really, really onto something. That's kind of what got things going in regards to the franchising, where I thought, okay, now I know we have something, and let's run with it. Let's roll.
Yeah. And so Jack Marcum was your grandfather.
Jack Marcum the first was my grandfather. He passed away in '81. My dad, Jack the second, owned it from 77 to 2007. He works for me now. And then I'm Jack the third. I just go by Lee.
Okay.
So
Jack the
Have
Third.
you identified a child as being Jack?
I have 3 sons. I'm not cursing. I'm not cursing. There are there won't be a Jack the fourth.
You're just going to make them
Oh.
assume the name. One of them will take the mantle up, and
Well,
it'll be like becoming the Pope. You just have to. Yeah, at that point, you become Jack the Fourth.
yeah. We'll legally change your name like Ray Kreider did to Bash. Right?
Yes, exactly. Bash was in that chair about a month ago.
I know. I saw him.
Yeah.
So I was watching that earlier today. But yeah, that's one of those things I really didn't have an input in. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have kids, but as the dad, you have no input on the name. You just really don't.
So far,
They'll
we're
let you think they
0
do.
and 3, but if Dakota has one in the next 7 years, I'm at $50.
There you go.
We're
All
keeping
right.
track. We got a little
Okay.
calendar. I
Yeah.
feel very good about my chances.
Yeah, his chances are pretty good.
All right.
You say things whenever before you're married that you just don't really actually know. You know what I mean?
Well, that's like
things
anything,
change
though.
so much.
But
Yeah.
that's anything though. That's work. I mean, if you told me that 20 years ago that there'd be 17 Jack's Donuts locations and 2 different states, and we're going to announce a new state in about the next 2 weeks.
Ooh.
Nice.
So stay tuned for that. And it's a big state. That's all I'll say.
Well, Utah's, big.
Yeah,
Texas is pretty big.
Texas is big. There's
So
a
is,
lot of big states. in that.
Alaska's pretty
Alaska's
huge,
a big
man.
state.
Hawaii's not very big.
Oh, it's not Hawaii.
It's
I
not.
can tell you that. I really wish it was, but it's not Hawaii. And
Someday.
someday, oh yeah, that's the plan. We want Jack's Donuts all over the world.
I want Jack's Donuts all over the world.
I
too.
appreciate that.
That way, any time I vacation, I'm like, heck yeah, never away from my donuts.
That is kind of the odd thing about growing it, is that I can remember just a couple of years ago being over in Indianapolis and driving around Indy, driving around 465 and wanting a coffee and thinking, okay, where can I stop to get a coffee? Because I'm in my Jack's Donuts gear from head to toe. I can't go into Starbucks and get a coffee. So, and I can't go into Starbucks. I can't go into a gas station and get a cup of coffee with my Jack's Donuts t-shirt and hat. So I would have to, I remember having to just kind of plan ahead. Now, there's one almost everywhere we go over in Indy.
Yeah.
The,
It's surprising. I can remember whenever you guys first announced that you were going to open up a new location in Fishers. I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I was like, and everybody was freaking
Baby.
out, right?
Right.
Everybody in Newcastle.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
was like, what? No.
Well, and then, yeah. And that's kind of, like we were talking before the show, I moved back to Newcastle about a year ago. And one of the reasons I did move back is because all of our stores that we open, we really preach about being a part of the community. Don't just have your store there. Become part of the community. Be somebody that people know. Luckily, Jack's has been around forever, that when I go in everywhere, everybody knows me as the donut guy. But I didn't live here. I lived in Cowan. And I lived in Cowan because at the time, that's what was best for my family. My wife was teaching in Muncie. I was working here. So that was the sacrifice we made. And when the business got busy enough, we moved, we thought, let's go back to Newcastle. Let's make a difference. And that's what the Jack's philosophy has always been, kind of to just make things better. When you leave things, make sure they're better than what they were before.
And you've continued to make improvements. The Newcastle store hasn't been ignored.
No.
You go in there, the pavement's brand new.
No.
You've done, you've got the coffee bar.
Well, and we're
It's
getting
not been left behind at all.
no, and we're actually getting ready to do some big changes. Actually, that start next week on our store. We're getting a new roof. We're painting the whole place on the outside. You're not
painting that stonework.
No, that's the OG.
You have the same stone on the outside that I have in my house. It's like a second home for me,
So
man.
no, we can't do that. We'll always have to leave some of that up. But that's really what it's about. That's why I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys, because you guys are here in Newcastle. I'm very fortunate enough to go over to Indianapolis, and I get to meet some really great people. But I also want to talk to the great people who live in my hometown, because even though I am the CEO of Jack's Donuts and I am the face of the company, I'm also the owner of Jack's Donuts of Newcastle. So anytime I can come and talk about how much Newcastle means to me and how much this store means to me, I'm always going to do it.
Boss Hog Liberty fan Kelsey M. Myers says that you better be bringing a Oreo-topped donut to Newcastle.
Is there one somewhere else? Is it?
It's so funny. That's a great question. It's a great question. It's so funny because over in Fishers and over in Carmel and over in Greenwood, there are these fancy donuts, and they're not really, there's nothing really fancy about them. They just have different toppings on them than some of our donuts.
They take a cookie and crush it.
Yeah, and we do that here in Newcastle, and people are just so used to the donuts that they have here. We'll make that stuff from time to time on the weekends, so if you ever do want it, stop in on the weekend. Sometimes we have those, and if you call ahead, we might actually make one for you. If you call a couple days ahead and say, hey, can you make me an Oreo top donut? We might do it for you here in Newcastle.
Might.
So we will. but that's
You have to be here by 5:30 in the morning. I'm selling it. Okay, it might go old.
But the fancy stuff, like with cookies and Oreos and things like that, and chocolate chips, that stuff doesn't sell here in Newcastle. People like what they like here because of the history we have here.
They want their twist.
They do. It's like, hey, we made this donut you were asking about. That looks awesome. You want one? No, I'd rather have a caramel nut. Thanks, though.
Caramel nut is my favorite.
See, there you go.
It is my favorite.
And that's okay. So my thought is just, let's not force people to like something that they're not going to like. They like the classics, so let's do that.
Here's the thing that's going to complicate your life right now. You're doing a live TV show in your hometown, so people are asking you high school questions.
Uh-oh.
Travis Cam wants to know about your pet goat in high school. I don't know what that means. Is
Jimmy.
that code?
Jimmy. I had a goat in high school. My dad did. His name was Jimmy the goat. So we took him around Baker Park to try and pick up girls. Had a leash and everything.
That is a damn good name for a goat.
Jimmy the goat. So
I love that.
So we took the goat around the park.
All right, Travis, we did the right thing for you and asked your question. Now you need to jump on that Patreon page and help us out.
Yeah.
Come
well,
on, man.
we're supposed to only be answering questions of Patreon supporters.
We got we're moving into a studio in a month, and we got bills to pay,
so
man.
gotta move it up.
We got our landlord, Mr. Mike Royals. We got to have a check once a month. We got stuff to cover, Patreon.
So everywhere that you've moved has you mentioned that Fisher's the welcoming was huge and you sold out. Has it been like that everywhere, or has it been kind of hit and miss?
It's about 75. Probably 80% of the stores that we've opened, there's just been a ridiculous opening. And the other ones, we've never had a bad opening.
You always go to the openings. You're heavily involved with franchisees when they start, I assume.
I do, and we still communicate with all of them.
Teaching them how to make donuts.
We do. I used to do it all. Like I don't make the donuts for the store openings anymore. I have a team who does that now. Back when we first started, I was the guy who was doing it. Like I can remember working 16 straight hours in Fishers, helping them make all their donuts, and then leaving that store and then driving to Newcastle and making donuts for people in Newcastle.
Wow. So you didn't get any flack for treading on Concannon's territory in Muncie? There weren't Concannon's protesters outside the store? God hates Jacks!
Yeah, Muncie was a huge opening, and I remember thinking about the Concannon's factor. It is what it is. Muncie's a big town. There's enough room for donut shops. We got a qualified franchisee who's interested, so let's do it.
I'm picturing like Anchorman, where you've got like News Team 4.
Yeah, News Team Assemble!
Yeah, I'm picturing you guys with tridents down.
There's a lot of times where people have asked me that if what that's like. It is what it is. I always feel like that the people who are looking at what everybody else is doing instead of just what they've got going on, those are usually the people who aren't very far in life. It's best to just kind of focus on what you're doing, and if you take care of your own house, everything else is going to work out fine.
Just because you sold a donut to somebody doesn't mean they're not going to buy a donut from the next guy
exactly.
down the road too, right?
And
it's an ever-expanding pie.
Yeah, I'm not exactly. And I'm not going to badmouth any competitor or anything like that because all they're trying to do is the same thing that every Jack's Donuts franchisee is doing, is just trying to make a better life for themselves and everybody else around them. That's all it is.
I do.
Co-host Danny Morrell's in the chat demanding, since he has co-host status, he wants to know if you've ever tried Tim Hortons coffee.
You know what's funny? I hate saying this, okay? Because I just said I wasn't going to badmouth a competitor. All right.
They're Canadian. It doesn't count.
But Tim Hortons.
Sorry,
big
Tim Hortons.
big Tim Hortons is a big chain. Their donuts are fine. I've been in many Tim Hortons. They're okay. But I actually buy every coffee that is sitting on the shelves of Kroger or Marsh or your local Fresh Time over in Indianapolis. I have tried almost every single one of those coffees because I love coffee. I'm a coffee
connoisseur.
I am a coffee connoisseur.
Nice.
And I will tell you, Tim Hortons, I was disappointed. It was probably one of my least favorites. Now maybe it was the roast. Maybe they had different kinds of roast. But Tim Hortons, for whatever reason, I just didn't dig their coffee.
you try
Jack's
a little-
Donuts is a lot better.
Just try a little dollop of Jameson in it.
Well, I did, and that didn't help at all either.
He had to use the
I-
whole bottle.
I did not. But like I said, though, that's personal preference. People from different areas and different regions like different things.
That's
Like
what
when
you're used to.
yeah, when you go out to California, they have all of their beans. You know, they're a lot of they're blondes, and people in the Midwest don't drink blondes.
No.
So
Some people in my Midwest like blonde.
But yeah, there you go. But no, it's, that's one of the things that's kind of it just kind of depends on region. Tim Hortons, but that's me though. I don't like that particular kind of coffee, but they have a good product overall, though, and they have a great brand. They're those brands. See, for me to be as an aggressive brand that we're trying to grow here in Indiana, we're just Indiana and Utah and another states soon. It's absolutely ridiculous for us to go and say that, you know, Tim Hortons doesn't do this good or Dunkin' Donuts doesn't do that good, because ultimately those guys have really set the bar high. And without having people like that around, you just it's almost hard to imagine that you could be that one day. But the fact that you have those guys to look up to, it's inspiring. I mean, it really, really is. I love competition. I mean, I love competition. I have to be in it. If I'm not the guy when I'm playing cards with my family. If I'm not into it, I could really care less if I lose. But when it comes to donuts, I don't want to lose with donuts. I don't want to lose with donuts. That
Yeah.
can't happen.
I don't think you're really threatened around here anyway.
No.
From what I've tried.
And that's the great thing about Newcastle. It's very safe. It's very safe, but that's why I'm over in Indianapolis 2 or 3 days a week, because I like to be shocked. I like to be poked and prodded a little bit. But
Yeah.
that's, as I was saying, that's a leap of faith that you have to take. You never know what it's going to be. Comes in all different.
Somebody
shapes
called
and
Kenny
sizes.
Loggins. You're in
So-
the danger zone.
So late last summer, you guys took a hell of a leap of faith,
Yeah.
and you started a relationship with the Indiana Pacers. What's
Correct.
that been like?
I cannot say enough great things about that organization. I really can't. It's not like Miles Turner and Victor Oladipo and I text each other. That doesn't happen. I really thought that was going to happen. Like I thought they were going to call me and discuss any roster moves, but apparently they're not. So
I mean,
that-
do you have Larry Bird's number?
obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
He's texted
Nice.
me twice.
Yeah.
He's under.
I'm sure he's watching.
That's not Travis Ham.
Oh, that's Larry.
That's Larry Bird.
Oh.
Yeah, he hacked Travis from Nigeria. So, but the Pacers partnership has been wonderful because, as I was telling you guys earlier, what we knew we wanted to do was to take our brand to the next levels, to kind of go more national. So we were going to have to partner with somebody who was legitimate around here, and the Pacers were. And that was, like you were saying, that was a huge leap of faith. That was one of those ones I remember signing it and thinking, I don't know how we're going to pay for this, but we have it. We have our plan that's going to work out the way it is, and that's what you have to do. And here it is. We the first year went fantastic. Nothing but great things to say. The team played phenomenal, which makes us look better. But from somebody from a different state that's thinking about a franchise to look into, the fact that they see that Pacers logo on the side.
I was going to say, they're watching a Pacer game on ESPN or
Mhm.
TNT, and you guys are on the scroll. You're
Yes.
on the ticker, so they're
Yep.
watching the game, and they see that Jack's Donuts
Mhm.
logo looking at them with 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, you're as legitimate as you can get.
That's
at that point.
exactly right. And the
Yeah.
fact that we have that Pacers P on the box, and that when you go to Bankerside Fieldhouse, there's that giant mural, automatically we have legitimacy. We're with the big boys. Now,
You guys-
we may be at the kids' table still, but we're in the room now.
Right, you're there. I mean, you're on national TV
Yes.
with ABC and
Mhm.
Connor Daly and Indy 500.
Yeah.
They zoom in on Connor Daly trying to
Mhm.
qualify his car, and you see the focus in his face, and you see the Jack Donuts logo on his helmet.
Mm-hmm. That's,
Oh, the
that's-
Boss Hog Liberty is also a national
Yeah,
thing.
it's getting there. That's- exactly.
I do
So-
want to say those donuts are the reason I'm still fat.
All right.
Okay, I've tried to diet my whole life,
Yeah.
and I'll make it like a week into it, and I have to eat one.
I get it. No, I understand. People always ask me if I'm sick of them. No, and that's not being a salesman. That's the truth. I've never gotten sick of a donut. I've never gotten up. Maybe if I had like 2 before when I was in my early 20s and I drank a lot, and because I had no money. So, well, I've got a donut shop with
Those are
free
free.
donuts, yeah. So let's do that. And I went on I was out partying with friends, and I finished off the night with donuts. Yeah, they might not have sounded like the best thing there, but I can tell you, within my whole life, I've never gone more than 3 or 4 days without eating a Jack's donut. And I think Jack's is really special to me. I mean, it's my grandfather's name, it's my name, it's my dad's name. It's that box, even though it's just a box, means more to me. Other than my personal family, that means more to me than anything. It really does, because it's about setting goals, going for that, and as I said, being a part of the community and leaving things better than what they were when I showed up. That's what it's about. And as you were talking about our building here in Newcastle, that was something when we started to grow and we didn't have the money to invest. I wanted to fix that building so bad, to make something beautiful in our town, and we're getting there. We've got a 5-year plan. We're in year 2 of it. I think when people see it in about a week and a half, it's going to look different as it did when they did our parking lot, which is so funny. You know, you guys are from here, and you guys know that our parking lot in Newcastle was legendary for years. For
you did
being awful.
You did a great little video when you had that thing repaid.
You know what's so funny is that was like by far the most popular, and well, that was the second most popular interaction we've ever had on social media, was that parking lot. And I had numerous people from Indianapolis go up to me and they go, "What is the deal with everybody in Newcastle in that parking lot?" They're like, "Dude,
your parking lot was like the other 800 miles
Yeah.
of county road in Henry County. It was just a total
They're
bomb
like, "Dude, it's just asphalt." And I was like, "Well, I don't know what to tell you. We were legendary for that." Getting that done was probably one of the top 5 proudest moments I've had growing this company.
Did you have anybody complain because you were changing something that was...
Those are historic potholes,
You know,
and you can't mess with those. They're
Ever since I was a girl.
Yeah. It is. We had people coming by. It is funny. We had people coming by that were like laying down as it was being paved and getting pictures taken. And it was hilarious, because I was sitting out there a lot of the day and just kind of watching it, and people were just amazed by it. They were saying that, like, yeah, that it's almost like a part of Newcastle is dying with this today. Like,
Did you take a picture and memorialize it and put it up on the wall so everyone remembers what the parking lot used to be?
Yeah.
You should have asked people for any bent rims or anything that they had.
Yeah, well, yeah. Trust me, I've gotten a lot of those phone calls over the years, telling me I
You
was
just
gonna
hang
have
them
to
up
pay
in the
for it.
shop, like, this is where we came from.
Exactly. So, but that was a pretty awesome moment. So,
Well, and it's a landmark location. Like Lane Sequin came through. Lane was on the show, and I went down and visited Lane when he was running for Congress, and he held court in your coffee shop. That's the place that a Democrat bought me a cup of coffee. He gave me, I gave him his change back, but he spent $2 on a cup of coffee, and I got.
You gave him his change back?
Yeah.
He's a Democrat, man. He wouldn't have done that.
you know, the politics of a donut guy are nobody wants to hear what you
No,
say
no.
about anything.
Well,
Everybody, you know what everybody wants to do? Everybody wants you to keep making donuts. So you know what? That's what I would say. That's what we're going to do. In the world that we live in now, it's so funny because it's great that you guys have a show, because I think that the more opinions that you can get out there, it's great for everybody to have an open mind. But I also think it's just as important for other people to keep their mouths shut. I see all the time, I see businesses that will express their opinions about things, about politics, and I think, I feel like when you do that, you don't have a platform to explain yourself. You're just making a statement. And when you do that, you are really kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because the world we live in, people get offended so easily. So that's why I would say, as a donut guy, you know what? I like people who like Jack's Donuts. That's
right.
who I like. That's
So,
who I like
with
more
that
than
being
anybody.
said, what do you think Trump should do about it?
Oh, here we go.
So the interesting thing about our show and
Yeah.
us being uniquely,
Sure.
we're kind of in the middle, right?
Yeah.
We are socially very
Mhm.
liberal or progressive, and
Mhm.
we live and let live, do what you want to do. We don't want to control your lives. We may have personal opinions, but
Yeah.
we're like, it's government's job. And then economically, we're fiscal conservatives.
Sure.
We preach
Mhm.
that, and we try to live that. Which about everybody agrees with on about half the things that are going on. It positions us where we're relatable all the way across the board.
I think that people really have a lot more in common than what they think they do.
Absolutely,
I
they do.
really do, and that's why when you guys approached me about coming on this, I was like, absolutely, because I think it's important to talk about what you guys talk about, and it's important for people to have their voices. So I that's why we live in a great country, because freedom of speech, that's what it's about. Real quick, while I'm thinking about this, because I don't want to forget, as I was saying, I love anybody who loves Jack's Donuts, and I don't like to offend anybody. I have offended some people.
The airing of the grievances.
That's right. When we, I was telling you that the parking lot was our second biggest post. Our number one biggest post, we posted, it was the week before the Super Bowl, and
I remember
it
this.
was the Falcons and the Patriots played. And we made a post, who do you have? And we said Falcons, and we had a donut with that was red and black and white sprinkles, Falcons collars, and said, "But you got Falcons instead of Patriots." We said cheaters,
Nice.
and and we had with the Patriots collars on there. And I bet I probably got 25 or 30 personal messages to my Facebook account. I had a few people tell me to go to hell.
First of all,
It's like, wow!
they're documented cheaters.
Yes.
It happened.
Yes.
Multiple times.
Plus,
in
I
different eras.
want to point out, at that time, we were only an Indiana company. So guess what? I mean, as you guys can see, I'm a sports fan. I have my Pacers shirt on. I have my Reds hat there in Ohio, but they're close
It's the
to here.
Indianapolis market.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I was blown away by how many people just called, and they were so mad. We had a woman call our store and scream at one of the girls working retail, saying she would never go into Jack's Donuts ever again, because how dare we say that about Tom Brady?
No,
Oh man, just wait.
The attention you got is better for the
By
company
far.
than the 25 people that.
And you know what?
Over at Donut.
And those 25 people, I'm sure, have moved on since and have bought many of Jack's Donuts since then.
Until you brought it up on Boss Hog Liberty, and
There
now
we go.
tomorrow morning
Hey,
it's all reignited again.
They won that game. It's all good.
That's exactly right. The Patriots. Oh yeah, and after they won, people are like, "Yeah, serves you right, you bunch of losers." We're just having fun. More
Yeah,
Indiana company.
just
having
wait
fun.
until the local amount of outrage whenever they hear that the Memorial Park Board's putting the Doughboy in your parking lot.
Oh yeah, that's a whole ball game.
Radioactive, you don't want it, man.
No.
Just give everybody donuts and move on.
That's right.
Chase, I had a joke. I'm gonna guess
Okay.
that the next Jack's Donuts isn't going to Massachusetts. Just guessing.
You
probably
don't think
not
so?
safe.
That's correct. We are not going to Massachusetts. I have no
Yes.
problem with Massachusetts.
No, but they have a problem
I
with
do.
you.
Yes, then maybe.
I
yeah.
hate the Patriots. I hate the Red Sox. Celtics are okay.
Yeah, Brad Stevens. I mean, come on. That's like the olive branch to combine between the two states.
I like Larry Bird, but I hate the Celtics. It's just, but I'm a hometown guy.
Yeah.
I'm just you're a Bears fan. So.
I'm a Bears fan, but I'm a Yankees fan for baseball. But for basketball, I root for the Pacers. Like, I'm from Indiana, you know. So I'll root for the Pacers until they get knocked out in the first round. And then I'll usually root for, like, Brad Stevens because I liked him when he was at Butler.
Mm.
And so
Remember how I was during the Game of Thrones talk?
Uh-huh.
That's Dakota right now.
Okay.
Not a clue.
No, not a clue, really.
Not a clue.
Yeah, I don't like sports at all.
Don't like sports at all, really. You know, that's so funny. Do you like video games?
Oh yeah.
What video games do you like?
Skyrim's my all-time
He
favorite.
plays that game where you
Minecraft.
walk around with your hands on fire.
Fortnite?
Don't pick on Minecraft.
World of
Dakota and I
Warcraft.
combining our.
I
Fortnite.
don't really. I have Fortnite on the PS4, but I really am a PUBG guy.
Okay. I've never played Fortnite ever. I have kids that used to play video games all the time when I was a kid. I mean, or not a kid, in my 20s. I mean, I really was Grand Theft Auto in real life. I mean, I really was. That's what I and Madden. Played a lot of Madden. But yeah, I mean, games. That's what's great about video games is that those people who don't like sports, it kind of gives you something else. Where I think 40 years ago, those kids really had nothing.
They just got their asses kicked.
That's every single day. Yeah.
That was it. All right, so Dakota has show notes prepared for us, and we're going to
That's right.
gently pivot to whatever the hell he has that we're supposed to talk about that's slightly serious.
What's up
Lee,
next?
You can weigh in anytime you want to as a Henry County resident on this stuff, but we don't want to cost your business or any fans. So
All right. Thanks.
just, as you want to throw rocks and be funny, but...
we're going to talk about social media in a
Yeah,
minute,
we'll get to
and Lee has done a great job with it. So
I appreciate that.
that's one of the reasons that this topic was included into
Okay.
this episode.
So, but you want to talk about the shell building.
I do,
There's
yeah.
news. You're propagating the myth that there's news on the shell building. It's been
Okay.
It's been built since you were in middle school down there in the Commerce Park.
That's correct.
As
Yeah,
they built it,
2012.
I was out of the country for a week. So is somebody making something in there? Is it
Well,
the new
I
Jack's
heard-
Donuts?
Well, I heard this rumor it was actually from the agenda of the Newcastle City Council meeting, and Aaron Dickin had mentioned that Corey Murphy, the Economic Development Corporation, had came to the meeting and
Big
said
fan
that-
of the show. We love Corey.
Oh yeah, he said that there had been some interest in the shell building, and I was like, ooh, this is quite the development.
Juicy.
So I contacted first Travis White because I wanted to see if
like Budweiser.
Yep, I wanted to see if the Courier Times had picked up on this at all, or if we could be the first ones to introduce this news. Travis said that he hadn't heard anything. I reached out to Aaron Dickin, Aaron Dickin didn't know anything about it. I reached out to Mr. Clay Morgan. Clay didn't know anything about it. So finally, my search took me to the Murph man himself.
He is the guy in charge.
Yeah, that's
probably should have been your first phone call. Why'd you waste so much time and energy?
I
from
don't
our
know,
government
man.
Officials?
Like, I don't know. So
Dakota Waste Davis.
I asked Corey. I told him, like, if just as long as you're at liberty to share. I don't want you to like get in any trouble if you're gonna spill beans to me or something. And he said that nothing specific, just some interest, and it continues to position our community for opportunities. So that's what he said. But then I said, dang it, man, I was really hoping that you would tell me that this is going to be the laydown area for the Calpine Wind Farm.
You're a clickbait.
Oh man, yeah, that's right. I know how to run this, and and so then he sent me about 3 really long messages about, like, I think I kind of cracked open like I'm not being all business. Like you can share with me some things, but really it was just about how he gets all kinds of messages, and I didn't realize this, from companies that are solely interested in Henry County because we have that Shell building there. And like he said that 4 out of the last 6 projects that we've had in Henry County, we wouldn't have gotten if we didn't have the Shell building here.
They're a magnet that brings you in.
Yeah, and he gave me some interesting facts about them, about the Shell building, about how the ceilings are 32 feet tall, which is the industry standard for places like that. It actually does not have a floor inside of it, which
There's no slab on grade, it's just dirt floors.
Gravel.
Yeah, gravel
Gravel.
floor. Which I'd wondered about before because in my previous industry, in industrial construction, the floor specifications of places can be really intense. Boar's head flooring systems were a bear to do. And I always kind of wondered, like, how can they prepare with the floor inside that place because the company's not going to want to come in, pay people to jack up all this concrete and then have to replace it.
You'll come in, you'll hire a structural ISO rebar.
Yeah. So I don't know if that was interesting to
design,
anybody else.
You'll design whatever foundations you need inside.
Yeah. But I asked him specifically, I was like, is the new jail going to go there? He said no. They did lower the asking price from $2 million to 1.8.
Ooh,
yeah.
that's 10% off.
And
with my Blue River Valley math.
And another interesting thing that I found out, this can be my last point of interesting points about the Shell building, was that Runbaum, is that how you pronounce it?
Runabohm.
Runabaum?
Runabohm.
Runaboam.
Mike Runabohm was the...
Runaboam.
You sound
Yep.
Canadian when you say that.
Runaboam?
Well, I was born 2 miles from Canada. That's a secret about me, Lee.
Sorry.
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 Cheers. Mike Runabohm was the state treasurer of the Libertarian Party of Indiana for
Wow,
years
was he
and years and
really?
years. Yeah.
But I guess
Big
that
supporter.
they actually get the vast majority of the money that comes in from that.
They pretty much finance the thing. The county has a small portion of it, but that was the deal they cut when they built it, was that Runabohm Construction kind of built it on spec. And way back in the day, this was probably 2010, 2012 when that was built, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, it was built in 2012.
Yeah, okay. So at that time, that was the deal. It was kind of, the county had low risk in it, and it was a public-private partnership with Runabohm Construction. And then they were going to get their end of it.
Were there any libertarians that were fired up about it back in the day?
No, it was, we kind of watched it and said, okay, whatever.
It has turned out really, really well for our community, I think.
Yeah,
That is my official opinion.
The county doesn't own the building. The Economic Development Corporation markets the building, but it's set up in a way that the private market with Runabohm has taken the risk on it.
Yep. Yeah, he gave me all kinds of really interesting information that I'm super glad to have. It can be expanded up to 200,000 square feet, which is more than enough for a county jail than we would ever need.
Because the appropriate place to put your county jail is inside of your industrial park.
Yeah, well, I mean, why not? Why spend all this money if we got this empty building just sitting here, just all it needs is a floor and some cells put into it, some pods. And it's already 50,400 square feet, which is 54,000 square feet was a suggestion from the person that we saw at the meeting. I mean, we're right there. It is the perfect spot for it. And
I've been
I'm just-
I've been in that building. It's a great building. From the outside, it really is. It's something that I think it has to bring business in. And the people I've talked to about it have said that people come in and they look at it and they're really seriously thinking about, well, let's use this. But then they realize they kind of want to start from scratch, and you don't blame them. But I would believe that it is paid for itself and then some. So as long as it's there,
I
keep
think
it
so
up.
too. So is it going to be the future facility for Jack's Donuts coffee beans?
I will tell you that Jack Simmons has looked at that building. Honestly,
Ooh.
it has. We have looked at that building, but it was more of just we're always planning ahead, and luckily, small town Indiana, you can call and you can say, hey, we're planning ahead for like maybe 2 or 3 years, and we see, we know the square footage. Can we just go out there and kind of walk through it to see if it can be a vision for us? What's that?
Yeah.
Clue us in,
Yeah, clue us in. And that is one of the great things about living in a small town like that, because people they're not thinking, oh, this guy's just wasting my time. They think, it's okay. We can spare 30 minutes to go with Lee to go out there and take a look at it, because, ultimately the world headquarters for Jack's Donuts will always be in Newcastle. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. We're not moving to Utah anytime soon.
I mean, we love anybody that buys donuts, no matter where they are. But the home base will always be here.
Henry County really has a lot going for it. And as a guy that grew up here, or, high school
Mhm.
years on, we are, you can be in a major city, downtown Indianapolis, in 45 minutes from here.
Yes.
If you drive at a reasonable speed.
I go to a lot of Pacers games, and we tell 42 minutes. That's the time from my driveway to in the garage.
Exactly. So yeah, you can leave at 6 o'clock and be down there, no problem at all by the time you tip.
It might take you a little longer because you drive pretty slow.
We went to my bachelor party in Nashville. I drove like 77 miles an hour. I'm sitting in the back seat. We're in the Tahoe going to my bachelor party. I'm in the back seat. I make Chase drive for the last hour or so because I was. We followed the. We did. The
He
same
was
thing.
drinking.
If you're in
he
the
started
fast
drinking.
lane-
That's why he had to stop
Yeah,
driving.
when we stopped for fuel, we shotgun a couple.
If you're in the
it was
fast
time for
lane-
Chase to drive.
You should at least be going 80 to 85.
I didn't even know my truck could go that fast.
Chase looked down at one point was going 91.
Keeping up with traffic in Nashville.
I was going the speed of traffic.
Yeah, of course.
Can I just say, Travis Ham is just he's chatting right now.
Is he poking it?
No, he's not poking the bear. But I have to do this because he's asking about a product that we have in our store. He's like, "Is it there?" Yes, Travis, it's been there for a week. The cold brew,
Maybe
our
he
new
should
nitro
visit,
cold brew. I should have brought a can. Travis, maybe you should go. He's losing his Jack's Donuts legitimacy right now.
I've tried it.
Yeah.
I've actually
Okay.
tried it. It is good.
Thank you.
What's in the cold brew? Is it sugar free?
It's a nitro cold brew. Yes, it's amazing.
See, now I've got a product I can
It's
pick up.
yeah, and I should have brought a can with me. It doesn't really go well with alcohol, so that's one of the reasons I didn't bring it
That's
tonight.
fake news. I bet if you put some Baileys in it, it'd be all right.
Yeah, probably some Baileys, but I'm not a big Baileys guy.
me neither.
Glow's about
Too
as girly
sweet.
as I get. So yeah,
Hey, that's okay.
He's circling back around. Huh,
All right.
I would
Maybe
really
I'll-
like that. I
Maybe I'll
love
be
a
in tomorrow
good,
morning.
love a good.
Honestly,
cold brew.
Dakota, Glow seems like a show you would enjoy.
Does it?
Yeah.
if
All
you
right.
don't like
I'll
sports,
give it a
yeah.
shot.
Did you ever watch wrestling?
No. No.
He played
I
football
made-
in high school for
I
track.
made fun of the kids that watched wrestling.
See, I only
no
watched
offense, Spicer.
wrestling a little bit, but I still love Glow.
Okay.
I watched wrestling when I was up until I was like in high school, and then
Who's your favorite?
I was an Ultimate Warrior guy.
Okay.
Ultimate Warrior was my favorite. And of course, I loved Hulk Hogan. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I took
Hey, what's up,
took my
brother?
vitamins, took my vitamins, said my prayers. I can't do a Hulk impression. It's not good.
You want to talk about social media now, brother?
There we can
You're,
talk about it. Yeah.
you're listening to the Balls Hog Liberty on the Libertarians Network. Jeremiah Morrell, Dakota Davis, Lee Marcum, CEO of Jack's Donuts, and Chase Peyton. We don't really know what he does here, but he's here. He's got perfect teeth. We're at my wedding. Was it the Friday night or the Saturday of my wedding? Maybe it been the day of my
It
wedding.
was the rehearsal
The
dinner.
rehearsal dinner, and
Uh-huh.
there's an orthodontist assistant who's in there, and she's like, she looks at Chase and just goes, "Oh my God, you have the perfect set of teeth." I'm like,
She wanted it.
and she was under 65, so she was in your age range. You're good to go.
If I
Watch
wasn't,
out, Katie.
If I wasn't taken, if I didn't have to save the world,
That's
then
right.
I might have.
And don't
Hit her up.
you forget it, Bucko.
Good for you and your good teeth.
Thanks,
That's
man.
great.
It's impressive.
That's great. So
I'm missing a
they've outbred
couple.
all the Kentucky that was in him, it's gone.
it's all gone,
He's
every bit of it. And he's got that Chicago jersey on.
Go Bears.
Duck Bears.
Duh, Bears.
All right, Dakota, what are we talking about with social media? What's this final
Did you
final
just
major
say?
topic?
Did you just say a boot?
A boot.
What are we talking about?
What's all this about?
All right, we're
I'm telling
talking
you, Matt, I
about.
was born 2 miles from the Canadian waters.
I couldn't really tell if I wanted to talk about social media and politics or social media and its impact on society in general. I decided to do it with politics because of the different things that have been happening nationally, statewide, and locally with social media and our and candidates and actual politicians. Things that have been going on that I think have been kind of flying under the radar, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring them up here. I know that I haven't heard it on 93.1 anytime. So
WIBC, the news and talk.
we might be breaking news. I might have to send this to Abdul in the cheat sheet.
We've been the reasons things have been published in his newsletter before.
Well, I know it has been. Now my notes are getting blocked because Chase is getting donuts. But anyway,
What flavor are you getting, Chase? What's next?
Oh, caramel is nuts. I saw this bad boy in there and I was like, I gotta get it.
Did you lick it? Keep it safe. Does that work in the store? If somebody licks it, does that
Well,
really...
that's why we have the showcase where they can't have access.
Before
to it.
I think the correct answer is no one's ever looked at donuts.
Before I devour this thing, do you want a bite?
No, I can't, man.
Just one bite.
I'll pass out. I'll be done.
You won't.
I'll be in the
Come
sugar
on.
coma.
I know for a fact you had at least one bite before your wedding. The
Of
night
a donut?
before. Yeah. I gave it to you.
Did I? Yeah. You talked me into it. I made a lot of bad decisions that week.
Ooh, what are you saying there? What else was a bad
You better
decision?
tread lightly there.
I remember I made a gaffe like that after I got married, and you guys didn't let me live it down. But now I've erased your memory, so you don't remember what I'm talking about.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
have no idea.
that's what I thought.
Literally no idea.
Okay,
I'll go back
so
and listen to the audio, though. I'll know.
yeah, first thing was Donald Trump trying to get us into a thermonuclear war with Iran through his tweets, with in all caps, scrolling through Facebook casually, and you come across a controversial, Facebook post, and then there's going to be a baby boomer in the comments that's yelling in all caps. And that is what Donald Trump, our president, how he was working his diplomacy. But you know what? I gotta say that the man has definitely proved me wrong with social media in the past. I mean, now we've had the Korean summit. We've had him actually having talks with Syrian leaders, and it stemmed from his social media. So, I mean, I thought that he crossed the line this time, but I've also thought that he's crossed the line in the past. So,
I mean,
well,
basically, the dude just continues to... The more you scream at high volume, the less people pay attention. And at this point, it's not even getting headlines.
oh yeah, I mean,
A
you
year
couldn't
ago,
even
it was a
really
different
see
story.
it. Like I saw it in a wall chat, and I'm signed up to like 3 email lists that I read in the morning, and I also get on Drudge Report every morning. And
let's be honest.
didn't make my radar before
Are
then.
you too busy reading those emails to keep the power on in Frankfurt, Indiana?
Yeah,
Is
that
what
wasn't
happened
me,
to those poor
man.
people today?
Hey, I never got a call that said SCADA on it.
Jared, you're missing out, man.
Is it a good one?
It's my favorite.
You really, if you're gonna podcast, you really ought to use the microphone, Chase.
It's delicious.
That one looks good. I had a white icing roll.
Those are those
before.
are $2 a piece, right?
It's okay.
You're
Yeah,
willing
we'll
to pitch
bill
in?
you.
Yeah.
We'll bill you.
Or am I going to get a bill in the mail later? Like
Yeah, that was
from
2
Jack's
donuts.
Donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Betsy Mills used to be my favorite guest, but she's moved down to number 2. I'm sorry, Betsy. You're still my
Betsy,
girl. But
no.
You know, we've sold the Jack's Donuts through the Henry County 4-H Junior Leader Food Booth for literally as long as I've been around.
I did know that.
You guys
and
always
that's,
hooked us up down there.
well, and that's like I was talking about earlier. That's one of the great things about coming back to town is being able to do that and really realize the impact you're having, but also realize where you still have work to do. We've been around. We've been here for almost 60 years, but we can still get better. There's still things that we need to do. Every year we're trying to give as much money as we can to the local athletic department, just to kind of keep, even like the band. We want to keep those kids in the activities that they can be in. And I have to say, I just got a text message from somebody telling me to get off my phone. It was Mark Bowers, who owns our Anderson store. Mark's from here, and he's doing in Anderson exactly what we're doing here in Newcastle. Not just being the guy who opens a business up, but being part of the community and understanding. And Anderson's going to be better because Jack's Donuts is there making an impact as well. So, and that kind of, you guys are talking about politics. That's the politics that donuts can do. Is that it can, if anything, and I know I'm getting really chintzy here and really cheesy here, but it's something that everybody can agree on. And if we can get people to talk, if we can get people to talk to each other respectfully over a box of Jack's Donuts, why wouldn't we? Even if it is Mark Bowers and Anderson.
Everybody loves donuts.
Right now. Everybody does love donuts. It doesn't matter who you are.
No.
And if you don't,
Unless you're an idiot.
that's right. Or a Patriots fan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm guessing that 50th state's going to be Massachusetts. You're going to get Hawaii before you get Massachusetts.
Oh, God.
You're going to have to be like Carl's Jr., where it's like, they're Lee's Donuts in Massachusetts. That way.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Yeah,
It's going to be the same stylizing.
It's funny. The Hardee's here in Newcastle, I very seldomly go to. And it's nothing against it. I just don't think about it. And I just got back from stayed in Carlsbad, California. I went to Carl's Jr. like 4 days. And you know what I had? A breakfast burrito. And it was amazing every day.
Now, Carl's Jr.'s breakfast burritos they're fire.
They are.
I
It's
have
amazing.
because I do this keto South Beach thing. I have the naked burrito, the burrito bowl. The burrito in a bowl at Hardee's all the time. That's my go-to.
I didn't know they did that here.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was the thing.
Just give me the burrito in a bowl. No shell.
Here?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's breaking
Man.
news. Breaking news. Here's my secret.
I'm going to remember that more than anything.
I order two.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You do,
I
yeah,
bet
you
you're
do.
the person that kept ordering the cheeseburger without a bun,
All
but
the time.
replaced with lettuce.
No,
I
that
don't do
was me and Audrey.
I don't
Oh
do
yeah,
that.
that really was you. I
Yeah,
think I made one for you.
yeah, you did.
I
Where were
worked
you
there.
working?
I
You were-
worked there in high school.
Were you at Hardee's?
Yeah, when it first opened, I was there.
Chase
good.
made him the best way because he made him wrong.
I really did.
Too much stuff on there.
But I always just poured it on, man. Whatever it was, I always gave too much sauce.
He also gave you too much lettuce.
Did you have to work on Christmas?
I didn't work on Christmas. I don't think they could force me to work on Christmas because I was under
minor?
18 at the time.
Because you're a Christian.
I was yes.
I still think that's odd that they're open on Christmas.
It is
It is
weird.
I think that's weird.
I think
But they're busy too, so I can't really say anything because you drive by there on Christmas morning and the place is packed.
Who is going to Hardee's on Christmas?
they're
Please
only
do.
supposed to work until like a certain time, like 10 or 12, something like that. But I remember when I was there, they worked till like 2 or 3 that day.
Oh, God.
If there is anybody watching or listening right now, if you went to Hardee's as a customer on Christmas morning, tell me why.
We want your we want your
I have to know
because I can.
If there were a day to be in your pajamas all day long, or to be in your gym shorts and a T-shirt,
Are you saying
It's
we
Christmas.
can't we can't get a Jack's Donuts Christmas morning?
no, you
gotta plan
can't.
ahead.
No, you got to plan ahead with that because I want my employees
Yeah,
to be at home in their underwear all day long.
exactly.
So-
one of the biggest revelations in Jack's Donuts for me was whenever you guys started opening up at nighttime.
Yeah, that was
That was one of your moves.
That
You
was
were
a
like,
big
we've
one.
got these things. Let's sell them all day. Why
Yeah.
stop at noon?
Exactly. It was, and plus we didn't even make it to noon the majority of the time. My thought was, we're paying to be in this building 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Let's try and make money. If we had a drive-through, we would be open 24 hours. For
Nice.
employee safety, we stay open until midnight here. We do 1 on the weekends. We used to do 3 on the weekends, and we were asked by the lovely folks at the Newcastle Police Department to stop doing that. And the reason is because a lot of drunk people. I mean, that's really just boiled down to a lot of drunk people, a lot of people on Saturday nights. They'd come try and sober up at the donut shop. They were always really nice, but
Yeah.
they might have just been a little too loud in the parking lot.
That could have been me. I'm not gonna lie.
So Brandy Pierce came knocking at your door one day.
Okay.
Is that what you're telling me?
Who's Brandy?
Brandy said
yes.
she's the canine officer.
Brandy, she was probably one of the few who were like, "Hey, Lee, you would make our lives a lot easier if you could close at 1 instead of 3."
You know, I can really see that.
Now, I want to know why they hang out at Casey's instead of your place, though.
Who, the cops?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you have to do? Do you have to put a magnet out? How do you get that business?
I don't know. That's a good. Well, they don't pay for anything, so I'm not
Yeah.
really too upset
Yeah, that's
about
true.
it. But
I know
our-
Shirley, in Shirley,
Yeah.
their police department in their little sing-along video featured Jack's Donuts. in it.
Yeah, they did. Thank
They
you,
did that.
Shirley PD. Yes, which was awesome. The cops come in our place all the time. We give the cops, the local police, donuts all the time. They come in. They don't hang out. I would imagine probably a lot of it's just better access. You're kind of stuck over there on 14th Street.
Why
where
don't
we are.
linemen get free donuts?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Dakota, here we go.
I've been brainstorming.
Time out. What the hell are these on the table right now?
That's true.
These are
Free
podcast
donuts.
free donuts. I go in there once a month and buy 3 dozen, man.
It's all right, man. It's okay. I never hate on anybody for trying to get a deal.
Somebody's
tell
got to pay the
I'll
bills.
take my business to the Fisher's Jack donuts.
I tell people all the time, like, because there'll be times we've had people that have like copied coupons, like put it on a copier, and copied
Like
it,
counterfeit
and tried
money.
to guess. And I'm like, man, I really appreciate that effort. I really wish I could take this.
Rob
but I just
Simmons
can't.
didn't get his cut. Okay, you are screwing him over. with this
Exactly.
Great Deals
Yeah.
magazine.
When you do the Great Deals magazine and you make copies of it, it's like, guys, we can't do that. But we're not. I really appreciate the
It's
effort.
just so
I'm
funny.
slow clap for you, but we're just not doing that.
And it has to be so obvious too. Have you ever gotten one that's like black and white?
Oh yeah, like we really have. I'm not exaggerating. Where they've done that, it's like this is you, and you can tell they set it up where it's like it's the same coupon 4 times on the same page, and they just cut it. Good for you for trying, but I just can't do that.
You need your clerks in there with a little marker that you have for a $20 bill on the coupons confirming them.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't. I have to reject this.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's
ma'am.
counterfeit.
I've
This is
been-
counterfeit.
I've
I
been
don't know where you got this.
brainstorming for a while now, and you might not be able to comment on what I'm about to say. That's
Sure.
okay, I understand.
Sure.
But when weed's legalized,
Yeah.
I really want to open a shop right across the street from you guys,
Sure.
or at least
Where
down
the
the
barbershop
street.
used to
Sure.
be.
Yeah.
And it's gonna boost your sales quite a bit.
I agree.
I think it's
yeah.
gonna help both of us out.
I agree. If it's
would, it
legal,
would,
why
it would.
not? I mean, it's I
Man,
will
Oregon.
I will drink Jameson. I love.
We're gonna have edible donuts.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But I'm a Miller High Life connoisseur. So, if it's legal, then if it's legal, it's legal.
There you go.
Yep. Just keep people buying donuts. That's all.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
All right.
right.
I think by the time I'm 40, it's going to be legal. I
We're,
really do.
we're at an hour and 17 minutes. I have to talk about the District 4 State Representative Sally Segrist. I think is it
We'll go
Segrist?
Segrist.
Or
I'm going to go
Segrist?
Segrist.
Segrist?
She's from up in
Let me see it.
Lafayette,
But she has
Tippecanoe County area.
she has the I before the E. Anyway,
Where's it at?
what she did is it's
Segrist,
down
like
here.
Oppenheimer.
Segrist? All right, I'll go with it.
I'm not
All
gonna
right.
attempt
She
that.
made a controversial tweet, and if you're in the Patreon group, you can follow a link over to it. But she made a controversial tweet whenever she found out that she actually had to run against an opponent, and she was basically calling them out about not being true to where they grew up. Like, I grew up here, you didn't grow up here, blah blah blah. Well, it started blowing up, so obviously she deletes the tweet, which is whatever.
You don't have Lafayette credit.
Yeah, that's what it was. And so what she did that took it a step further was she deleted the tweet.
I know Bob Rohrman himself. Yeah.
Bob Moore. But she deleted the tweet. She blocked reporters that were asking her questions, and then she made her account private. And this was her Segrist, I think is how we're pronouncing it. It's like District 4 Rep. That was the Twitter handle.
It's her official account.
Yeah, it's her official account, and she's blocking reporters and made it private, which would just so happen to fall within weeks of a time that a federal judge ruled on the case on the side of reporters. And let's see here.
It was Davison versus the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors, I assume.
Yes, correct. Yeah, the
I
federal.
remember that case well.
A federal judge sided with the reporter Davidson against the county board supervisors, and it basically said that if you are the proud owner of an official Twitter account as a government official, then it is a violation of the First Amendment of the rights that reporters have if you block them from your Twitter page or Facebook page or whatever. Social media is how it's worded. So I thought that was really interesting because that got me thinking about the society side of things that we're talking about, but also about whenever a candidate is running for office and they have you have a social media page, we have a social media page for the Libertarian Party of Henry County, and I think that all of our county council candidates do have Facebook pages, but it's like, is this something that the average voter really actually has to pay attention to with how someone portrays themselves on the internet as as a candidate, because then how do you think that they're going to portray themselves whenever they're elected? Now that whenever they're trying to win your favor versus whenever they've already won it, is it going to expand on the bad things that you see? So that got me thinking about that, and then went kind of took my brain down a different course of how has it just impacted our political sphere as a whole. And I think that it's done a lot of good, because it used to be you could only meet your state rep or whoever, or even your county commissioners or people if you went to a public meeting, right? That's the only time that you got to see them in action, hear what they had to say, and the only time that you had a chance of maybe getting to talk to them. Now, you can literally send your senator a message on his Facebook page, and a staffer will read it, and if it's important enough, he will send it along to Joe Donnelly or Todd Young or whoever. So that is obviously a great benefit of social media. One of the bad things is, of course, confirmation bias, which has always been a problem. Basically, whenever Facebook sets up their algorithms and you are going through your Facebook timeline, you're really only seeing the things of people that you agree with, because Facebook knows if you see things that you agree with, then you're going to like your experience a
That's
lot
why I
more.
get so many Jack's Donuts clothes.
Exactly.
That was
So
a good one. That was a good plug. That was a good
There you
plug.
go.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm a pro. We've been doing this this is episode 70. We've been doing this a while.
yeah.
Yeah,
But that's how they do it. And so now all of a sudden, right? So I'm scrolling through my feed during the 2016 election. I'm a libertarian. Facebook knows that because I've shared it everywhere, right? So I'm seeing things from other libertarians in my feeds about, this is how Gary Johnson can pull off a 2016 win. I know that that's probably BS, but whatever. However, there's a lot of people out there that don't know that. So whenever you're seeing all these reaffirming things, it fills you with a false sense of hope. And I think that whenever you have this pseudo-confidence around you because of what you've been seeing on social media, this can, and then that thing doesn't happen, you're going to be a lot more emotional about that result than what you would have been before. Because I think that that's just kind of human nature. You think that something's going to happen. I mean, just if you told one of your sons that they couldn't have something or they couldn't do something, they get upset, right? And maybe it's because they thought that they could. And I think
I
that's...
don't care what they think. Yeah, you're exactly right, and that's a good way to kind of look at it. In regards to people, just the way that they relate, I think that's dangerous in a sense that people.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's dangerous, but. And you're talking about, being able to talk to congressmen or whoever is, to talk to your congressman or whoever is in office and being able to DM them. It's the world we live in now. Things are changing so fast that new rules are having to be written every single day. And I personally like the fact of my politicians I would love if my politicians were not on social media. I would love to not have that kind of a relationship with them, that the only way I can talk to them is at a council meeting. But, as I said, just because I like that doesn't mean that's the way it works. That's not the way it works anymore.
It's incredibly attractive as a candidate because it's the most direct access you have.
It is.
To get your message out.
When you're a candidate. But then when you're in office, that's when it gets a little more dicey. I don't think people growing up now, let's just talk about this as kids that are growing up now that are going to be politicians one day.
People like Chase.
There you go.
Yes.
They do not realize that every skeleton in their closet is going to come out.
Oh yeah, I'm
Like,
screwed. I've
well,
said some stupid stuff on this podcast.
Who was the guy for the Brewers? Did you see this?
Holder.
Yes. Who when he was, and I'm
A
not.
7-year-old tweet, 8-year-old tweet.
Yeah, when
Yep.
he was saying, making racial slurs, which is just, it's unacceptable. And I'm not going to sit here and say whether it's good or bad that the media went after him the way it was, but because
That
what
was-
it was for the people who don't know what it is.
Yeah,
as
That
a
was
kid,
from him
Well-
from when he was like 16.
He was. I did the math. He was 17.
Okay.
And he was 17, and he posted some racial slurs, and he's 23 or 24 now.
Yes.
And
Yep.
somebody had found him and posted him online, and look for his sake, his teammates really rallied around him and they said they knew that that's not who he was and that he was a stupid kid. But that is just the tip of the iceberg for what's going to happen in politics and with social media. Is that no matter what it is, if you were Dakota, if you were going to run for office one day and you decided one day you were going to be a Democrat or a Republican, people are going to eat you alive for that, because they're going to look at your social media posts from years before and say, can you trust this guy, really?
Yeah, look at him, he went.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you were a Republican. My whole opinion about you has changed.
But that's what it is, though, is that people...
No, you're right. You're right. And Dr. Richard Heyer, who's a neuroscientist, talked about this just a few weeks ago in a lecture where he talked about how he believes that in the future we're going to have kind of like Google Glasses, you know, the Google Glass things. But instead, whenever I have them on, I'll be looking at you, and then I'll see a profile of you.
Yeah.
And I'll have your information. And then that's going to cause me to automatically know this information and judge you before I even get a chance to talk to you.
It's kind of like a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what he was drawing off of. But
I don't think that's far fetched to say anymore.
No.
I really don't. But I don't think it's good either, though.
No, and he was talking about
Creepy.
As a neuroscience, the effects that it would have on the chemical makeup of the brain and the staggering amounts of like depression and things that could be fed from that. And I thought that was rather interesting.
Yeah, people who are going to be in the public eye 10, 15, 20 years from now, whether it's politics, sports, media, it has to be something that they're going to have as clean as a background as possible, because yeah, sure, there's criminal background actors, but social media, it's going to be dicey. It's going to be tough.
Except for our current
it is.
president, he's done all kinds of things and overcome it.
But you're talking about a man with a net worth of $5 billion, so it's like, of course he's slept with Playboy models, you know, like
your social media, once you're elected, becomes more one-way communication. You're communicating your message out. You're talking at a high level and you're sending information out. When you're trying to run a campaign, at your congressional level or higher, you probably have staffers that are doing your social media for you. If you are a state rep, you're probably doing your own thing. If you're running for a county council race, you're trying to do your own thing and learning along the way. There are people with all different skill sets that are running those campaigns. You may have somebody that's 65, 70 years old and doesn't really know what they're doing, and they're doing the best they can, trying to use it as a communication method, but they just don't get it. It's not first nature to them, but they know that's the platform they need to be on. And then you have another person that's 30 years old, and they've grown up with a phone in their hand since they were 15, and it's second nature. You got to show a little bit of grace, but at the same time, you don't want to do anything stupid. When you send something out, you've got to use a little bit of logic. Luckily, as a libertarian, you kind of you have a.
That's why that's why I have to approve everything I get tagged in.
Yeah, we've learned this.
Being friends with Chris
Network,
Spengle,
being on the Wall Network, nothing goes on our wall without us going. Okay, fine.
Yeah, that's not getting put on there.
Yeah, that's not. My mother's my Facebook friend.
My grandmother's on here.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. So yeah, just use it smartly. And then you guys have done a great job with that with the Jack side. You've got a lot of employees, a lot of people to look out for, and you've got
exactly.
it's not just Lee Marcum.
No, it's I am the star of the show. So no, I'm just. But you're exactly right, and that's something you have to do is understand. We talk with our people about that, to always remember about what the things you do post online, because people see that and they have an opinion of you, and you might make somebody happy, but you can just as easily piss off two people, and that's not good, and that's not what you want, and it's not the image that you want to portray, and that kind of I almost feel like that. I feel bad for some people. Or I shouldn't say I feel bad. I don't like the fact that sometimes, depending on whoever runs a company or who the face of a company is, that company, their brand automatically gets labeled conservative or liberal. Because that's just one or two people at the top who have that particular opinion. Right. That's the kind of world that really scares me as we go into, where it's like, oh, if you're a liberal, you cannot go to Chick-fil-A. If you're a conservative, you are not allowed to go to Starbucks. Just because the people at the top have a certain opinion, there are thousands of people who are in that company who have their own opinions, who rely on you to come in there every single day. With Papa John's, with him being all the dumb things that he's doing right now. Just because he's an idiot doesn't mean
that the local Newcastle, Indiana store doesn't
exactly.
need your business.
And I remember hearing, I know a guy who owns some Jimmy John's franchisees, and I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago, John, I cannot remember his name, who who started Jimmy John's, or not? No, his name wasn't John. His name was Jimmy.
Yeah,
How he got in trouble for hunting wild, or didn't get in trouble, but there were videos of
There
him
were people that
hunting
that
wild
came
game
down
in
on him
Africa.
yeah.
And I remember this guy telling me, you can boycott Jimmy John's, but you're not boycotting him. He's going to get paid no matter what. You're boycotting the franchisees who bought into this company with him. So that's kind of the good and the bad about social media, and that's why I love. You guys follow Wendy's on Twitter?
Oh yeah,
Wendy's
it's
is
so
amazing.
good.
Did you see they tore up Steak and Shake today? It was awesome.
I didn't see that. No.
And I think that's hilarious. And I
Yeah,
think,
that's
but
good.
they're walking that fine line and they're doing it excellently. But yeah, with social media, it's changed everything.
When are you gonna start putting Quack Daddies and Pendleton on blast on Twitter?
You know, those guys are good guys. We met them a few times, and that's the thing. We do an event every year in Indianapolis. It's called it's a donut beer festival with a group called Girls Pint Out,
You have my attention.
and it's awesome, and it's great because all the local donut shops are there, and even though we have 17 locations, when we had just one location, we did it, and we have 17 locations, and we still do it every year, and they pair us with local breweries,
That is
and all
awesome.
the donut and the beer people get to talk. It's probably one of the funnest events of the year.
I'm gonna have to go to that.
It's awesome.
We'll go,
I mean,
Chase.
it is fantastic. We've been partnered with Beer Brewery. We've been partnered with who else have we been partnered with? I think we've done a 4-Day Ray. It's just a great event, and that's kind of goes back to the old school way of networking, where you can sit down and talk with people, have a pint, discuss things that work in business and things that don't, and we get to talk to the guys at Quack Daddy every year. It's always fun.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Well, we are getting to that point in the show where we do final thoughts. It's a chance for everybody to pitch one last thing, mention something, do their their recognition of anything that's going on. We'll give Lee the floor first, and we're very much thankful for you stopping by and hanging out.
No, guys, thanks for having me on. Anytime I can, promote my business, my company, I like to do it, and I really like the fact you guys are here in Newcastle. That's kind of where I jumped at the opportunity to be a part of it. Thanks for letting me come on. All I can tell you is just thanks to everybody here locally for being with our brand as we have grown. No matter what, I'll always own the Jack Dennett of Newcastle store. So my roots are here. And our franchisees that are throughout Indiana and Utah, they are in the communities that they're in. And just remember that when you shop at Jack's Donuts, just because it's a Newcastle company, I can assure you that the Fishers, the Carmel, the Greenfield, the Greenwood, the Bloomington, all those stores are part of the community and they're being a part of it. And the next time you're in a store, ask for a can of our new Nitro Cold Brew that just came out.
There we go.
It's really good.
JacksDonuts.com, Lee Marcum, Facebook, Twitter, I assume. all those places.
At Jack's Donuts on Twitter, Instagram, at DonutLee1 for myself personally. If you want to see how awesome my life is, it's as basic as it gets. It's family and kids and donuts. So yeah.
It's the palatial Newcastle.
There you go.
Chase Peyton.
As always, I have a few things.
Oh no.
First off, I don't know if the viewers noticed, but I'm in my football jersey,
You're in your Bears jersey.
my Bears jersey. It is
The,
we're
Super Bowl
we're
41 loser.
about to enter the best time of the year, Jeremiah. Football is right around the corner. It started today for most teams. Training camp. We get to see who gets hurt. You gotta start planning. I'm already planning who I'm drafting for my fantasy football draft.
We do need to work that out. Were you in the fantasy football league with me last year?
I was not. I didn't know you last year.
Yeah, that's true. God, it's such a new friendship.
I know.
But yeah, my dog peed on you for the Super Bowl.
He did.
Uh,
He did.
Yeah, we came so far. So we got to get you in the league.
I'm down. I'm always looking for a new league.
All
I'm
right.
in like 3 or 4.
It's a Yahoo
You
league.
can never get enough.
All right.
I like Yahoo. So yeah, that's my first thing. We got football coming up about a month and a half for the important games to start, and then right after that is baseball playoffs, which is always good for my
It's
team.
intense.
Maybe not for yours. Sorry,
I don't
but
have-
you know.
I don't
No,
have
we're not
high
even
hopes.
there.
I don't have high hopes for my Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
Yeah, sorry. But and then my next thing, I just wanted to see. You had a big weekend.
I did. A couple
You
of
know
them.
how was your honeymoon? What was your favorite part?
I had a lot of favorite parts, but the you're welcome for that.
Is there a bun in the oven?
Not yet. I sure hope not. Awful early. Yeah, I really enjoyed Cozumel. We had a great day at Nachikocom in Cozumel. That was a really cool spot.
You went snorkeling. Did you see any sharks?
Saw Barracuda.
Ooh,
Saw
was it Scary.
No, I was okay. I'm bigger than it was. I figured I could punch it in the nose.
Did you piss yourself?
No, that's good. So,
I might have pissed myself.
the moment I actually pissed myself, or nearly
Barracuda.
did, we were standing on the beach in Cozumel, and I'm 6 feet tall, and Sarah's 5'2". So we're both shoulder level, so I'm 3 feet away from her on the beach, and I'm looking back in, and she's looking at me, and this giant 3-foot-long fish swims between us with a yellow fin. I'm like, oh my god! And she didn't see it. I'm freaking out. Like an hour and a half later, we take our snorkeling deal, and they point out there's this school of fish.
Sure.
And it's yellowfin tuna. I'm like, oh my god! That was a giant tuna fish that swam between us in 4 feet of water.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was like the freak out moment for me.
And then my last thing, like, share, view this comment. We're doing this thing now. If one of our videos gets up to 50,000 views, Jeremiah said he would get a Boss Hog of Liberty tattoo. I'm also saying I will get one with him if we get 50,000 views on this video.
My terrifying moment is, what if I take another vacation and you change the logo? If I get something tattooed on me, and then Dakota changes the logo because the Patreon people said something's different. Now what do I
We
do?
will give you a list of
That's
options
Lee,
of
do you
what
have
our tattoo.
the Jack's Donuts logo tattooed on your body somewhere?
I do not have any tattoos at all.
Yeah,
And
I don't either. So
No.
getting one is a pretty big
it's
commitment.
a pretty big thing, yeah.
If you got the Jack's Donuts logo and then for some
we
reason
change-
y'all
yeah,
change it,
yeah.
I'm like, man,
Yeah, we're kind
that
of.
is permanent.
It is
Hey,
permanent.
listen, Kate Coger got an L&K Farms
That's
logo
true.
tattooed on him, and they changed it, and he is fine.
It's true. We will let you vote on it in the Patreon feed. 50,000 views, all three of us will get one.
50,000 on Sarah Morrell says the only tattoo I'll have is the moral crest.
Oh, man, she's already dictating part of your life.
That'll be the first tattoo. Okay, Chase Larson, calm down.
You can get that first, but Boss Hog of
I've heard
Liberty
they're
second.
addictive. Dakota, every time I turn around, Dakota's got a new tattoo.
I got 7 now.
All right, anything else?
Now it's 8.
That's all you
That's
got.
it. That's all I got.
Shirt.
All right, Dakota Davis.
My final thoughts are, let's see. I think we had some really good conversation tonight. I enjoyed talking about the social media and the impacts that it's had. Once again, I want to give a thank you to everybody who supports us on Patreon. Every time I turn around and every time that I post something into one of our Facebook groups, I am always blown away by the amount of community that we have developed around us. It's always great to see that, because I think that it's vital. It's something different. It's we're totally, you guys have made us different than any other podcast in that way, and of course I'm always appreciative of that. So
We've said from the very beginning that we give our time to this thing, and the Patreon money is what pays the bills and covers the hosting and covers the equipment and makes everything happen. So we are very appreciative to the community that helps make this show happen. We're not
That's
making
right.
money off of it, but we're breaking even.
Kennan wants to know when we're having Pat Kronk on here, and we are doing all kinds of fun episodes, and then we are going to get right back into the swing of things after we get moved into our new studio of doing all the different elected officials and politician candidates interviews. So right after we get moved into that new studio, we're going to be doing another big ol' round. We might be doing podcasting 3 nights a week again, but at least it won't be in my house this time.
Don't tell the wives.
But yeah, so we'll be getting back into that. But of course, that's the other big thing, is that to make that happen, it's going to, of course, take more money. So get on over there on the Patreon account. It's patreon.com/BossHogOfLiberty. We're getting there, people. And as always, very, very appreciative.
All right, well, that's Dakota Davis. Final thoughts, 2 things to pitch real quick. Our friends over at Purdue Extension are having an event August 4th at Crazy Hops Farm down in Knightstown. They have a free event. If you look at Purdue Extension Henry County, Kelsey Myers asked me to share that, and it's well worth looking at. If I can make it down there, I will. They're like the premier hop operation in the state of Indiana. It's right here at home, so it's a big deal. 9:30 in the morning till noon, August 4th. Learn all about that. I've heard their presentation, and it's really cool. Second thing, there's a video that Reason Magazine put out yesterday that's mind-blowing. It's on YouTube, it's on Facebook. Congressman Thomas Massey, one of my absolute favorites in the U.S. Congress. It's a 30-minute sit down with him and I think it's Matt Welch of Reason, talking about what Congress is actually like and what their responsibilities are and how they're supposed to raise money and how at this point he's just, because he's different and doesn't fall in line with everybody else, they basically hate him for breathing air, is what he says.
Yeah, that was a great interview.
It is an absolute must watch. So go find that. I shared it myself, but if you just go to YouTube and type in Reason and Thomas Massey, it's there. Really, really recommend you watch that. And it's not a left or right thing. It's just this is, as you're getting ready to go into the political cycle and learning about what's coming, and we're getting ready to pick a new congressman here at home, watch that and pay attention and learn a little bit. And you've got 3 candidates on the ballot. Look at every one of them. Look at Jeanine Lee Lake. Look at Greg Pence. And look at Tom Perkinoff. They're all applying for the job. It's an open seat. Nobody should have an automatic to it. So check that one out. We are still working on planning next week's episode 71. We're in talks with a guest or two. We've got some ideas. We're definitely going to do the episode that's coming up. Don't know if it's next week or if it's going to be a subsequent week. So we don't know what we're doing next week. We're going to have a great episode. I know that regardless, but the one we're working on is going to be very unique and very fun. It's kind of a high-profile guest, so we just work with us and be a little patient. We're going to have something for you next week, but I can't tell you what it is just yet. We will see you then, though. All right. We are clear from there. You stop that. We normally take a picture real quick.